Hello everyone, this is part 5 of What If Naruto Was Reborn as Kyuubi, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. This is why I wish to have you go with Naruto. Soon had finished explaining the situation to Yamato, who was unexpectedly called to the office by Kakashi, though even he didn't know why. You must understand, even Naruto does not know how long he'll be gone, but you must be there for it all. I understand, Yamato said. You understand the risk you're taking by doing this, don't you? Jiraiya asked, looking down to Naruto. Hi. Naruto answered with a firm nod, it's for the best. Then, you two will leave tonight. Tsunade said, I'll inform the Anbu and other Junin to not stop you from leaving. Yamato bowed and turned to head out the door, but Naruto stayed behind for a little longer. Wait, Bar-chan. Could you not tell the others? Others? Tsunade asked. Sakura-chan, Hinata-chan, Kiba, none of them. Naruto named only a few of them. I don't think they would understand, and they might try to stop me. I understand, Naruto. Tsunade responded, I'll be sure to keep them oblivious about it, but what's to happen when they realize you're gone? It won't matter. Naruto answered, they would just have to wait for me to return. From the other side of the door that led to the office, Sakura had her ear pressed on the wooden door, listening to the conversation between the four that were inside. She couldn't believe it. Tsunade-sama was actually going to let Naruto leave. Just like that, Sakura was now going to lose another one of her friends, and not just any friend, but one she saw as a loving brother. She then heard footsteps approaching. She quickly backed away from the door and ran down the hall. Yamato and Naruto left the office, walking down the hall opposite of Sakura. She sighed in relief, knowing that they won't see her. You really think Yamato can protect him? Tsunade asked. Why ask me? You're the one who wanted him with Naruto. Jiraiya answered, folding his arms. But you witnessed his jutsu. Tsunade said, you know of how powerful he is. Jiraiya closed his eyes and sighed, knowing of Yamato's strength and will, he's the best choice in keeping the Kyuubi in check. I hope so, Tsunade said quietly. She looked on as Naruto and Yamato disappeared as they turned a corner. The sun on its way to descend for the night. The blazing orb was halfway to hiding itself behind the mountains, illuminating the sky with its crimson rays. Naruto had decided to have one last meal at Ichiraku before leaving, knowing that it will be his last one for a long time. He still had some time left before he was to meet Yamato at the gates, even after having won too many bowls of ramen, but he didn't know what he could do. As he walked around the streets of Konoha, he came across Ino's flower shop. As he stopped and looked at the flower shop, he began to wonder about a certain girl. Why not? Naruto smiled brightly as he walked into the store. He wasn't surprised to find Ino standing behind the counter. Hi Naruto. Ino smiled, what brings you here? Well, why would I be in a flower shop, unless I didn't want flowers? Naruto asked. Oh, and who are they for? Ino asked, leaning over on the table with curious eyes. Geez, you really are nosy. Naruto muttered, no wonder Sakura-chan calls you a pig. He kept that last remark low so that Ino couldn't hear him. They're for Hinata-chan. Hinata? Ino asked, so you finally realized that she likes you. You mean you knew too? Naruto asked. I think almost everyone knew long before you ever did. Ino answered. She giggled at the face that Naruto made from realization. Well anyways, since this is for someone special, I recommend getting her. She sank behind the counter and began to search for something. This one. No. Aha. Ino popped back up and had a large bouquet of white roses. Thanks, Naruto said, as he took the roses. With the large bouquet in one hand, he reached into his pocket to pull out his wallet, or, Gama-chan. So, how much is this? Oh, don't worry about it. Ino smiled, it's on the house. Wow. Thanks. Naruto smiled. Maybe you can make it up to me tomorrow. Ino said with a suggestive voice. As Naruto turned, his smile dropped. Sorry, but you won't find me here tomorrow. As Naruto left the shop, Sakura came running in, just missing him as he turned a corner at the end of the street. Ino. Sakura rushed to the counter. Wow, what are you exhausted about? Ino asked. Have you seen Naruto? Sakura asked, still panting from all the running. Yeah, he just left a minute ago. Ino answered, he came to get some flowers for Hinata. We need to find him. Sakura said, he's planning to leave Konoha tonight. What? Ino asked, shocked. But, Sakura-san, Kiba found him. Lee answered, running towards the two girls. We have to hurry. Naruto walked down the streets, holding the flowers in his hand as he made his way towards the Hyuga mansion. Naruto. Huh. Naruto looked back to where the voice came from and saw Sakura running towards him. That wasn't what worried him, but the fact that she was joined by several others. He began to panic. Behind her, Kiba, Lee, Ino, and Neji ran towards Naruto as well. Oh number. They must know. Without hesitating, Naruto turned and began to run. As he ran, he brought his hands together into his favorite seal. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 4 more Naruto shadow clones appeared and all 5 of them ran in different directions. Split up. Sakura commanded to the others. Don't let him get away. Hi. Lee was the only one to answer, as the others simply nodded. All 5 of them split and chased after one of the Narutos. Lee ran after Naruto, who was C-corners in the alley, in hopes of trying to escape from Lee's sight. Get back here. Lee called out. This is wasting too much time. He'll escape for sure. While still running, Lee managed to pull off his leg warmers. Kicking him aside, he darted at high speed to Naruto. He kept track of his movements, remembering where he left the leg warmers so that he can return to pick him up. As Lee got in range, he jumped forward and tackled Naruto to the ground. The two shinobi fell on the dirt with Naruto flat on his back and Lee pinning him down. Where are you going and why are you even leaving? Lee demanded, but instead of getting an answer, Naruto simply smirked as he suddenly disappeared. Damn, a shadow clone. Ino chased after her target, running through the streets of Konoha, desperate in catching Naruto. Sakura didn't bother telling me why he was leaving. Ino thought as she kept up her pace, maybe he'll tell me once I catch him. As Naruto kept running, he thought he could try and lose Ino by jumping to the rooftops. He took a moment to make a small bounce, giving him the momentum for a full force jump to the top. Ino looked as Naruto went up and onto the roof of a building, but what happened next didn't seem to surprise her. Naruto slipped on the heel on his sandals and fell on his back, falling off the building. That was a little easy. Ino panted. She walked over to Naruto's body. Oi, Naruto. She kneeled down beside his body and began to poke him. Naruto. Suddenly, his body dispersed into a puff of smoke. Oh crap. It was a shadow clone. The sun finally disappeared and the moon was slowly taking over the sky. Naruto still ran from his captors, not willing to reveal anything about what he was planning for tonight, but they still chased him. From what he sensed, every one of them caught up with his shadow clones, except for Sakura, considering she was chasing the real Naruto. As Naruto kept running, he found himself running by the Hyuga mansion. Right in front of him, Hinata was walking towards the mansion, unaware of Naruto at the moment. Hinata looked to her right and saw that Naruto was running towards her. She smiled when she saw him come closer, but instead of him stopping, he kept running. She simply stood there, confused as to why Naruto had run past her as if she wasn't there, but she was more confused when she saw Sakura running past her as well. She turned around and looked on as the two slowly shrank in the distance. Naruto-kun. Naruto was getting exhausted from the running, but he knew he had to lose Sakura before he could meet with Yamato. He was running through the forest, in hopes of losing her in the trees, but Sakura was smarter than that. He finally gave in and stopped running, catching his breath in exhaustion. Sakura finally caught up with him and was panting as heavily as Naruto. Why are you leaving? Sakura asked in between her breaths. When she got no answer from him, she ran up to him and s him straight across the face. Why? Sakura-chan. Naruto's left cheek was now red from the S that he had just resheathed, but he didn't care about the stinging pain from it. He dropped the flowers that he still held onto, letting them fall onto the grass. I have to. Why do you have to leave? Sakura asked. Tears were forming in her eyes. Why are you in such a hurry to leave us? For my own reasons. Naruto replied. What could he say? Hey Sakura, guess what? I'm the Kyuubi's reincarnation and I need to leave the village or else I'll kill everyone here. No, he couldn't go that far. It's important for me to do so, but I'm not leaving anyone, I'll be back in time. Reasons. What reasons? Naruto never made sense to her before, but the reason behind them were always simply because Naruto was just acting like himself, but this was different. Naruto had never made the decision to leave the village. The pain of the fact that Naruto was going to leave was just as equal as when Sasuke was going to leave the village. At least tell me what you plan to do while you're gone. It's about the Kyuubi. Naruto answered. Oh crap. You can't tell her that, she wasn't meant to know about it. The Kyuubi. Sakura then remembered those few days ago. The day when Konoha was mourning, the day many villages of Konoha were killed by the Kyuubi. She remembered that Naruto never attended the ceremony. She then remembered Kiba telling her that Naruto punched Sai for making a reference of Kyuubi. She looked back into other events. She remembered the time when her teammates were on their way to save Gaara. She remembered that Akatsuki made reference to Naruto about a Jinchouki much more powerful than Gaara. Could this be the reason? Could Naruto be leaving because of those events? Why do you have to make the Kyuubi your responsibility? Because I have to. Naruto responded, it's personal. Sakura couldn't take it anymore. The tears couldn't be forced back. Out of pain, she s her fists on Naruto, screaming. Why? She didn't stop hitting him, but Naruto didn't do anything about it. Why does it have to fall on your shoulders? Why is it personal? Just tell me why. Naruto was now getting fed up with her. Despite heavy thoughts against it, he knew this would at least shut her up. He pushed her back, causing her to fall on the ground. Because he's me. Naruto yelled back. He lifted up his shirt to show his stomach, which housed the location of the seal. He yelled louder than Sakura so that she could hear him. The Kyuubi. He's me. What? This feeling that came over Sakura was something she never felt before. Did she hear him correctly? Did Naruto just say that he was the Kyuubi? I'm the Kyuubi's reincarnation. It was all me. I killed all those innocent people all those years ago. Naruto said calm and firmly, I killed your great-grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, and your grandfather. No. That can't be. Sakura said, quietly, that's not possible, you can't be. The Kyuubi was K, everyone knows that. That was a lie. Naruto said, the Kyuubi couldn't be K. It had to be contained, like how the Shukaku was contained in Gaara. But for me, Kyuubi was changed into a human form. Sakura's face looked down to the ground and had her hands over her face. She began to sob uncontrollably. This is why I need to leave. Naruto said, Sakura, I need to control the Kyuubi, otherwise, he'll come out and kill many more people. Sakura didn't respond. Naruto didn't want to take the time to wait for her to stop crying. He turned and began to walk away, leaving Sakura alone to cry her heart out. Naruto walked alone through the forest, but something stopped him. Are you telling the truth? Naruto turned to where the voice came from. From behind the large tree, Hinata stood there, with tears in her eyes. Did she just listen to everything he told Sakura? Are you, really, the Kyuubi? She asked. Hinata. Seeing Hinata cry was something Naruto didn't want to see. For some reason, he just wanted to walk over to her and wipe the tears off her eyes. Do you understand why I couldn't tell people? Naruto-kun. Hinata walked away from behind the tree and towards Naruto. She stopped halfway, having her hands held together up to her see. That still doesn't change how I see you. I've always looked up to you, Naruto-kun, no matter what you are, you're still the same person I always admired. Hinata said, trying to hold back any more tears. Hinata, don't make this harder for me. Naruto said. He knew he didn't want to leave, he needed to leave. Otherwise, people like her and Sakura would be in danger. I have to leave, I'm doing this to protect you. With that, Naruto turned and proceeded to walk away. Hinata simply stood there. Even at the moment, she still couldn't bring herself to tell him how she truly felt. Her mind began to make decisions. You have to tell him. He might never come back, then you'll never be able to tell him. This is your last chance. Naruto-kun. Hinata ran to Naruto. He stopped and turned when he heard his name being called, but when he turned he was immediately in the embrace of Hinata. Her arms wrapped around his waist as she was on her knees pressing her face on his stomach. Please don't go. Please. Hinata. Naruto was shocked by this, But the feeling he had was different, it felt good. He gently brought his hands to hers and removed them from his body. He kneeled down in front of Hinata. Her face was red, but not from her usual moments, her face was red from crying. I need to go. He slowly brought his hands up to wipe the tears off Hinata's face. The warmth of Naruto's hand on her cheeks was something she only dreamed of. She wanted to jump at him and kill him, but she couldn't bring herself to go that far. Naruto brought his hands to the back of his head and began to untie his forehead protector. He removed it from his head and placed them in Hinata's hands. Can you hold on to this for me? Your forehead protector. Hinata didn't understand why he gave this to her. Just so you know that I'll be back, Naruto said with a small smile. I promise, I'll be back for it. He moved forward and held Hinata in a hug. This feeling he had when Hinata hugged him was something he wanted to feel one last time before he left. Hinata. Hinata was taking in this feeling on having Naruto hug her with meaning at last. Naruto-kun. Responding to when he called her name. I'm sorry. For what? With one swift motion of his right arm, he smacked Hinata right at her left temple. Hinata didn't have any time to collect what just happened. She didn't have time to realize that Naruto had just hit her. The force of the smack made her lose her consciousness. For that, Naruto gently placed her unconscious body on the ground. This was something Naruto didn't expect when he planned to leave the village. He wasn't hoping on hurting anyone when he left, both emotionally or physically. And of all people, Hinata was one too innocent for him to hurt. It made him sick to his stomach when he realized that he had just hit Hinata. But he knew it was either that or possibly not leave the village at all. You haven't left yet. Naruto looked over and saw Kakashi standing not too far from him. Can people just let me know they're there, instead of sneaking up on me? Naruto asked. First, Hinata comes out of nowhere revealing that she heard everything Naruto told Sakura. Now Kakashi appears out of nowhere, but that was his usual habit. Can you take her home? Of course. Kakashi responded calmly. From the distance, Sakura was running towards them. What did you do to her? Sakura ran to Hinata's side and checked to see if she was still alive. She noticed the spot where Naruto had hit her, which was shown with a small tint of red on her left temple. Naruto got up and stepped away from her. She'll be fine, Kakashi said. Sakura saw Naruto, she got up and proceeded to walk to him, but Kakashi had his hands gripped on her shoulders to stop her. You better go quickly, Naruto. Yamato's at the gates. Naruto nodded in agreement. He turned and walked away, ignoring the cries of Sakura calling his name. This was his choice, he needed to do this if he was to save Konoha. He knew he's risking his safety by abandoning his village, but he had a purpose behind it that would benefit the village's safety. He made his way to the gates of Konoha. Yamato was standing at the exit with his arms crossed. You're late. Sorry, Naruto answered, I got a little sidetracked. It doesn't matter. Yamato sighed, assuming that it was Naruto. He had no proper excuse. Are you ready? Hi. Naruto nodded. The two walked past the gates and towards the unknown. Naruto didn't know where he would go, he didn't know when he would come back, but he knew this had to be done. Hinata slowly opened her eyes. She looked around her. The last place she remembered being in was the forest a small distance away from the gates of Konoha. She then remembered what happened. She got up, but her vision was blurry. Whoa, easy Hinata. Kiba appeared to her left side and caught her, just before she fell. You're still a little woozy. Where am I? Hinata asked, still unable to clearly see where she was. The hospital. Kiba said, Sakura brought you here from the forest last night. He then leaned over to the side and looked at the bruise on Hinata's temple. That's a pretty nasty hit. Hinata's vision slowly started to go back into a crystal clear view. She rubbed her temple gently, which still gave off a small sting of pain when he put a small amount of extra pressure on it. Remembering more of what happened last night, she forced herself to sit up. Where's Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Did he? I'm sorry Hinata. Kiba frowned. Sakura told me everything. He's gone. Hinata's eyes began to fill with tears. She had hoped that everything that happened last night wasn't real and that the bruise on her temple from an accident, but now she knew it was true. She buried her face in her hands as she cried uncontrollably. How could you let him go? Sakura yelled. Kakashi simply stood there, apparently not interested in this argument. Naruto made a choice. Tsunade-sama agreed to it and ordered me to not stop him. I'm not one to oppose what the Hokage ordered. Besides, Yamato is with him. That'll keep the Kyuubi in check if the problem should arise. Sakura's rage slowly faded. Remembered that she now knew of Naruto's secret. She had to ask, Kakashi-sensei, that day when Itachi sent Sasori's puppets to attack, you told Tsunade-sama something about Naruto's condition. Sakura still had that memory fresh in her mind. Were you talking about the Kyuubi? Kakashi sighed. Yes. He looked down at Sakura. Seeing that she was still just as upset, now that both Sasuke and Naruto are gone, he tried to comfort her. He promised that he'd come back. You know Naruto, he never breaks a promise. He smiled through his mask. But he also promised that he would bring Sasuke back. Sakura said. Which is why he promised he'd return. Kakashi answered, reassuring her, so that he can keep his promise to you. Hinata slowly opened the door. She walked in the apartment, taking off her shoes as she closed the door behind her. She looked around Naruto's apartment, which apparently Naruto didn't take much time to clean. She walked around across the room and to the bedroom. Inside, there were clothes scattered everywhere, and manga lying on the floor with them. Hinata sat on the bed, holding onto the only piece of item that was left of Naruto. His forehead protector was the only item that gave Hinata hope that Naruto would come back. Flashback. Naruto brought his hands to the back of his head and began to untie his forehead protector. He removed it from his head and placed them in Hinata's hands. Can you hold onto this for me? Your forehead protector. Hinata didn't understand why he gave this to her. Just so you know that I'll be back. Naruto said with a small smile. I promise, I'll be back for it. He moved forward and held Hinata in a hug. This feeling he had when Hinata hugged him was something he wanted to feel one last time before he left. End. With determination in her eyes, she got up from the bed and went to the window. She opened it up and looked off into the horizon. I'm going to make your homecoming unforgettable. Hinata said with a bright smile on her face. I don't know when you're coming back, but when you do, I'll be waiting. She looked back at the bedroom. She wanted to keep her word on making Naruto's homecoming unforgettable, and she knew how to start it off. 3 years later, Hinata stood in the middle of the living room, holding a broom in her hand. She looked around the place with a smile of accomplishment. She walked over to the bedroom and looked at the clean room. She walked back to the living room, placing the broom back in the closet it came from. She sat down on the couch in the living room. She reached out for a picture that was on the small table in front of her. The picture was one of Naruto, standing alone and smiling. It was one that was taken sometime before he first left with Jiraiya for the 2.5-year training period. His smile was so bright that it made her smile as well. She dedicated herself to keep Naruto's apartment clean while he was gone, of course making sure her father approved of this. There were times when Sakura, Ino, and Tenten offered to help. Even on rare occasions, having the boys help too, of course, bribes were made by the other girls to have their full cooperation. But Hinata always liked it better when she was the only one there. Hinata. Sakura's voice came from the other side of the door, followed by a knock, come quick. Hinata quickly got up from the couch and went to the door, opening it. What is it? Tsunade-sama wants us in her office right now. Sakura answered, we have a mission. 2 members of Akatsuki were spotted in this village not too long ago. Tsunade said as she pointed to a location on a map that was on her desk. Sakura, Sai, Hinata, and Kakashi stood by her desk, looking at the map. The reason behind this is either Naruto or Sasuke might be there. Hope filled Hinata's heart. After 3 years of not seeing him, she might be able to see him once more. Ever since Naruto left, Hinata was put on Kakashi's squad as a replacement, while Kurenai worked with only Shino and Kiba. Your team will be sent to this village to find clues as to why they were there. Report back once you found the information. Tsunade said. The Akatsuki might still be there, so be prepared should you come across one of them. Hi. The students bowed. Over the course of the 3 years, each of them went through some changes. Of course Kakashi never really changed from his Junin uniform. Sakura had her hair grow back out to the long length she originally had, but she had it pulled back into a ponytail, with several strands hanging over the front. Her forehead protector was now placed on her forehead, and not on the top of her head like before. With a little inspiration from her friend, Ino, Sakura now wore her dark pink shirt with a trim at the bottom, which now showed her midriff. On the back of the shirt, a large kanji symbol was scrawled there with read, strength. She abandoned the leather gloves that she occasionally slipped on for whenever she needed it, now replacing it with fingerless gloves that she wore all the time. On the back of the hands, the Konoha symbol was scrawled on them. Her skirt is one of the only things that she hasn't changed, along with her legwamas. Sai had finally chosen to change from the clothes that others never liked, mainly because of the shirt that showed his midriff, which they had told him isn't common on men. He now wore a black karate uniform with the sleeves see just an inch over the elbow, with a large dark blue sash around his waist. His sword was still strapped to his back, for it was something Sai can use within combat when jutsus fail to assist him. His hair also grew out, allowing him to put on a ponytail, while still maintaining his original hairstyle in the front, just longer. On his left arm, he had a black metal gauntlet on that hid an empty scroll inside it. On the outer side of the gauntlet, there was a tab that was for Sai to pull on to reveal the scroll, giving him an empty sheet for painting on for his signature jutsus. To what Sai had told everyone, by using his chakra, he can erase the paintings on the scroll, making it reusable and never run out. His fingerless gloves were still on him, but they also had the Konoha symbol scrawled onto them. Hinata changed her outfit into Hyuga robes. She now wore a robe that had a small feeling of blue. The robe reached down to around several inches above the knee, and was tied together by a solid white sash. Her pants were white and went down to her shins, and was wrapped under bandages. Her forehead protector was replaced with Naruto's, showing that she still had just as strong of hope as she did 3 years ago. She still wore it, hanging around her en. We'll leave in 3 hours. Kakashi said, go home and prepare. Hinata had her bag filled with the necessary items for the mission. As she left her room, making her way to the front door, someone's voice got her attention. Where are you going? Hiyashi asked. Oto-san. Hinata bowed as she turned and saw her father, with Neji. You have training with Neji. Hiyashi reminded her. Gomen, I have a mission. Hinata said. A mission? Well, then better hurry. Neji said. What is the mission, Hinata? Hiyashi asked. Hinata knew that her father wanted to know if she was participating in a dangerous mission, for he's been having a concern for her ever since Naruto left the village. I'm going to a village south of Konoha. Hokage-sama says that Naruto-kun might be there. She chose to leave out the fact that Akatsuki members were spotted there, as well as it possibly being Sasuke that could be there. Naruto? Hiyashi asked. He saw that Hinata's eyes were filled with hope. Don't give up hope on him, Hinata. Now go, do your best. Hi, Oto-san. Hinata bowed and proceeded out the front door. As Hinata left through the doors, Hiyashi turned to Neji. Do you have anyone else you can train with? Hi, I'll go find Tenten. Neji answered. Neji. Hiyashi called to him before the young Junin was about to leave. Do you believe Hinata will make a fine heir to the clan? I believe Hinata-sama will do more than what we can expect. Neji answered him. In the 3 years since Naruto had left, Hinata-sama's master many jutsus even I don't know. But I worry for her. Hiyashi said, I know of the private training she received. I'm concerned if she is ready to use what she learned in real combat. The journey wasn't too far, they only stopped for 1 night. The main trouble came when they finally arrived to the village. We'll split up. Kakashi said, meet back here in an hour. Hi. They all said in unison. They all dispersed into clouds of smoke. Hinata wandered around the streets of the village, looking for any clues that could lead her to Naruto. The whole time, she had her Byakugan activated. She looked everywhere in the village, but no luck came. There was no sign of Naruto anywhere. She knew that there could be Sasuke, or Akatsuki, but she wanted to find Naruto more than anything else right now. Hinata slumped on the dirt floor, leaning on the stone wall behind her. She sighed heavily as she was now exhausted from the walking. You seem lost. Huh. Hinata looked over to her left and saw someone sitting next to her. The voice clearly revealed that it was an adult man. She found it strange that she didn't notice him, seeing as how comfortable he was there for quite a long time. Maybe her exhaustion clouded her sense of surrounding. This man was mainly covered by a dirty grey robe that was L on the bottom. The collar was up high enough to cover his mouth. He wore a large, flattened conical-shaped straw hat that covered more of his face. He wore sandals that strapped around his ankles. A stick was on the ground before him, possibly his walking stick. He had a fairly long piece of straw in his mouth that bobbed up and down as he chewed on it. I said, "You seem lost." The man repeated, "Are my suspicions correct?" "Well, I'm looking for a friend." Hinata answered, "I was told he'd be here, but I haven't found him." She chose to leave out the part of Sasuke, another Jinchuriki, or Akatsuki possibly being here. "A friend?" the man asked. "What would someone from Konoha be doing here?" Hinata knew he saw the Konoha clan symbol from the forehead protector that was loosely around her N. "He disappeared 3 years ago." Hinata answered. She remembered back to the night when he left, leaving her with parting words, as well as a bruise to the temple. Hinata looked up and saw Sakura running towards her. "I found something," Sakura said. She offered a hand and lifted Hinata onto her feet. "We gotta hurry, they might not be there if we're too late." "Who?" Hinata asked. "You'll find out if we leave now," Sakura said. "Well, I hope you find your friend," the man said as he got up from his spot. "If you truly care about this friend of yours, you'll find him in time." With that, he turned and walked away, using the stick as support for walking. "What was that about?" Sakura asked. "Over there." Sakura pointed to an open field that had 2 figures standing there. Sakura and Hinata were hiding behind trees while they were spying on these other 2. The figures were dressed in black robes with red cloud designs on them. They both wore straw hats that covered their faces, but it made no difference, for their backs were against the Kanochi. "There's no point in hiding forever," one of them called out. "Oh." Sakura knew they both couldn't hide now. They came from their hiding spots. The 2 Akatsuki members turned around. Deidara smiled while Toby had his expression hidden under his bizarre mask. "I should have known we'd find you Konoha ninjas here," Deidara said, "but it makes no difference. We came here to do a mission and we're going to complete it," Toby said with determination. Sakura gave the 2 a look of determination of her own. "Damn, she's scary." Toby quickly scurried behind Deidara. "You go first, senpai." "Typical," Deidara mumbled. His hands came out from the pouches hat were on each side of his waist. The mouths that were on the palms of his hands were chewing the clay that they had just bitten into, preparing for one of Deidara's bombs. The mouths then spat out the clay figures, which were in the figure of spiders. He threw both spiders at the 2 ninjas, growing into larger sizes as they came closer and closer to them. "Hinata, look out." Sakura jumped to get out of the way of the explosion, but Hinata didn't move. She stood in place when she saw the giant spiders coming at her. She never really liked spiders, but to see a large one, it made her tremble. "Hinata." All that Sakura last saw was an explosion that consumed T. Hyuga. When the explosion settled and the dust fell, Hinata was still alive, on her knees and shielding her eyes. "What?" Deidara looked in shock. "Wow," Toby said with an unsurprised tone. "Hinata." Sakura looked in shock to see that she was still alive. Hinata looked around her, realizing that she was still alive and undamaged. "You really should have run." Hinata looked ahead of her. Standing in front of her, the same man from before was standing there. He wasn't using his cane for support, he was standing with a straight back. Deidara looked in fury to see that his clay bomb failed. "How the hell did you save her from my bomb?" Deidara asked in rage. "You won't live long enough to know." The man grabbed onto his gray rags and threw it off. He now stood in a Konoha standard Junin uniform. "Unless you wish to resist, this will be a quick battle." Captain Yamato. Sakura looked shocked when she saw that the beggar was actually her once temporary leader. "Toby, be productive for once. Distract him." Deidara ordered his student. He put his hands in his pouch and began to produce more bombs with the clay. "How?" Toby asked. "The same way as you always do, run." "But he'll catch me if I do," Toby complained. While the 2 were arguing over a plan, Yamato turned to Hinata. "Go back to Sakura, I'll deal with these 2 on my own," the man said. Hinata did as she was told. She got up and ran over to Sakura. "Hinata, are you alright?" "Yes, I'm fine," Hinata answered. "Ah, it doesn't matter anymore." Deidara pulled his hands out of the pouches. "It's done." The hands produced many small clay birds. Deidara grinned in evil delight when he threw them at Yamato. Try and stop these. Yamato stood there, apparently not worried of the coming attack. He threw his hands forward and touched his index fingers and thumbs together respectively. Moku Juheiki, wood-locking wall. From the ground below, small roots began to sprout out. The roots then began to grow into larger, thick roots and began to mesh together to form a half-dome that separated Yamato from the clay birds. The birds collided into the wooden wall, exploding on contact. The explosion covered the field, forcing Hinata and Sakura to shield their eyes from the coming debris. When they were positive that the explosion settled, they opened their eyes. The grass around Yamato was now more destroyed than before, but the wooden dome was still intact, only with several splinters from the bombs. Great, Deidara groaned, and I thought this would be easy. Looks like you were proven wrong, yet again, senpai. Toby commented. From what seemed to be a muttered curse, Deidara produced a large clay bird. He hopped on with Toby landing behind him. This isn't over Konoha ninjas. He called out to the three. You haven't seen the last of us. Toby yelled. Can it? Deidara said, landing a swift hammer hit on Toby's head. When the clay bird was far from sight, Yamato turned to the two girls. We need to go. Deidara's clay bird flew through the clouds as both Deidara and Toby were heading back to where the other Akatsuki were. Well, that didn't turn out so well. Toby commented. A vein popped in Deidara's head. You know, Toby, what happened back there, that was an embarrassment. And you striked out more than 3 times. Deidara reminded his student about the many comments Toby made during the short-lived fight. And you remember what I do when you reach 3 strikes. Yeah. Toby answered with no interest. So, what are you gonna do? Senpai. Toby yelled with plea from down on the ground, as Deidara continued to fly away on his clay bird. I said I'm sorry. He rubbed the back of his head as he ran after his teacher. Deidara rubbed his right knuckles, which were bruising red. I should have went for the stomach. Deidara said, wincing in pain when he rubbed over a sensitive spot. That mask hurts. The door closed as Sakura and Hinata looked around in the place. It wasn't too great, but it was still well furnished to live in comfortably. Yamato brought the 2 girls to his home, making sure he avoided himself and the 2 shinobi from the eyes of others. Once inside, he removed the gray cloak and hat, placing them on a hook that was on the wall. Perhaps I shouldn't have left you 2 out of my sight, Yamato said. Captain Yamato, what are you doing here? Sakura asked, and where is Naruto? Yamato didn't answer, instead asking his own question, who else is with you? Where's Naruto? Sakura asked again. She wasn't going to accept nothing for an answer. If you came with Kakashi-senpai, then I must speak with him first. Yamato answered, ignoring the question again. He must be the first to know about the past 3 years. I'm not going to tell you anything until you tell me about Naruto. Sakura said strongly. Tell us, for all our sakes. For Hinata's. Yamato looked over at Hinata. The pleading look in her eyes of wanting to know of Naruto was something he could no longer ignore. After not seeing him for 2 years, he thought the 2 deserved to know. Look, I'm sorry, Yamato said after sighing, but I don't know where he is. He disappeared a few days ago. What? Sakura yelled. What do you mean, he disappeared? I mean, he's gone. Out of my sight and nowhere to be found. Yamato answered. Now look, I need to find Kakashi-senpai. At least we can use his help in finding Naruto. Okay. Sakura calmed down. We're meant to meet him and Sai in a few minutes. Then let's go, Yamato said. As the 3 prepared to leave, Hinata looked back in the small house they were about to leave. She noticed that Naruto's orange and black clothes were left there, folded up and placed in the corner of the room. Naruto-kun. After hoping that she may at last see him again, that hope was shattered. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.